All right, ladies and gentlemen, former President Donald Trump has just been shot at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. We do not yet know the extent of his injuries. It is a completely out of control situation that we are learning about right now. I am certain that within minutes we will know more about this. Every allegation you can imagine is already being made about this. I don't know that that's the most important thing to discuss now. Let's listen to ABC News and see what we can learn.
There in Pennsylvania was to be the event leading into the convention. What was happening just moments before this news broke out was officials scrambling to try to gauge what former President Trump's timing would be into announcing his running mate, with a bit of a scramble that he might do it, in fact, at that event in Pennsylvania. Look, we've now heard, you mentioned hearing from J.D. Vance, hearing from Marco Rubio. We've also heard from Doug Burgum. So we've officially heard from all three of the people who were.
Let's see what the latest news is. Trump shot at rally. Trump shot at rally is the news. Trump with blood on his face. This is breaking news, folks. There is early reporting that a bullet may have grazed Trump's ear, which, if true, reminds us that a bullet grazing your ear is close to being killed. Okay? Donald Trump was whisked off stage at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania after apparent gunshots. Trump was showing off a chart of border crossing numbers when bangs rang through the crowd. Trump reached with his right hand towards his neck and instantly had blood on his face. He ducked behind the riser. Agents came up. He pumped his fist, was taken to a location as of this moment unknown. Here, as you can see, Trump with blood coming from his ear, being helped down. Look at this.
Again, it appears to be blood, but we cannot say for sure exactly what happened, if that came from a shot fired, which we don't know, or if it came from when he was tackled to the ground. But we did see the former president reach for his right ear as the chaos unfolded at that event in Pennsylvania. Once again, this was supposed to come right before the announcement for his potential running mate pick. Many people were watching this event very closely to see what would happen. Would he give any hints? Would there be any teases about, who he might choose to be his running mate as we head towards Election Day? Again, all of that stopped abruptly by this chaotic moment at this rally in Pennsylvania. Let's bring in John Santucci, our investigative reporter. And John, you have very close contacts with the Trump family.
What is happening in this country?
Saying about what happened tonight.
Whit, it is absolute panic within Donald Trump's inner circle right now, frankly, Whit, because the lack of information. As you mentioned right there to our viewers, Donald Trump has spent much of the weekend talking to potential vice presidential picks. Much of his family is not with the former president right now. But I can tell you, Whit, from speaking to at least the president's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., they do not know what has happened at Pennsylvania, and they are trying to find information. And that image, Whit, I can tell you multiple sources are telling me it has caused a great deal of panic. Obviously, as you mentioned, ABC News does not know exactly what happened at the rally, but that image of what appears to be blood running down the president's face has caused significant alarm. And look, we should note with...
Let's look at the exact moment where this happened here. This is, of course, listen, it goes... Do I even need to say it goes without saying that anything like this, any kind of violence like this is despicable, and this is not how we solve political problems? We are hearing it was staged in order to make Trump look better. We are hearing it was an inside job. We are hearing it is exactly as it is being described. Every conspiracy theory already flying. Let's look at the moment.
Can something that is short of a firearm, something like a...
Oh, wait a second. Here we go.
Thing that said, take a look at what happened.
Wow. So from the immediate grabbing the ear, I know they said we don't know if the blood is from him being tackled or from him being shot. I think you grab your ear if you feel something. I don't know what the line of the angle here is. There's people everywhere. I don't know if anybody else got hit. We don't know. We just don't know. A completely chaotic moment.
Firework or something that would be not a gun as we understand it, also be capable of sustaining an injury. I mean, certainly causing panic here.
Certainly could cause panic. I mean, look, likely in light of the wound and in light of apparently there was some smoke spotted, that it almost certainly seems to be a firearm. But again, we don't have all the facts. We have to take a step back and look.
So another question that's immediately being raised is firework or firearm. Presumably, there is Secret Service security where you would say, how could anyone get a firearm in? Just as reasonable to say, how could anyone get a firework in? And what an insane situation. Out of curiosity, because they're on scene, let's see what Right Side Broadcasting is saying. Not that we go to them for news.
The shots were fired. Vanessa Broussard and Nikki Stanzione, they're reporting live for RSBN, and they heard the shots. We heard the live reporting from them. The reason why we're not there live right now is because Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies told them and other media to evacuate the premises, so that's what happened. I've covered since September of 2022.
Okay, let's get away from this and hear from ABC News.
Have to be doing consistently for the next several weeks and months leading up to November. You have to imagine as tight as security is at these events already.
Hey, folks, I hate that I have to already do this. If I am already seeing stuff in my chat, do I need to clarify that if indeed this is a firearm used to shoot Donald Trump, as despicable a person and elected official he is, it is completely and totally unacceptable. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We want to defeat this guy in November, okay? Period. Period. If you disagree with me, just go. I mean, just go. Maybe you can find, I don't know, some other place that will welcome that sort of thing. Dear God, I can't even believe we're 6 minutes in and I even have to say this.
Process of actually making our way outside of this rally. At these rallies, there's so many people that oftentimes we don't get enough cell phone signal. And so now we have moved past one perimeter and one area. Now we are moving out to where we came in. We're passing by different areas where they were checking us in at this point. We're with a number of Trump supporters who are also trying to leave this area. Secret Service is trying to clear this scene so they can continue investigating exactly what happened during this rally. And so we are clearing out now. We're heading back to our vehicles among, I would probably say, at least 100 or so Trump supporters who are also making their way out. I will tell you just candidly, talking to Trump supporters as they were leaving, and people were waiting around asking what happened. People were checking on each other, asking if they were okay. You know, you did have people that dove to the floor, that shielded themselves, put their hands over their head, were trying to cover their loved ones when they heard those popping noises. And so people were visibly shaken up. So it's understandable that some of the people wanted to hang back a little bit just to gather themselves before they eventually moved out. So Secret Service now pushing all of these people back toward their vehicles right now to completely...
There is some early reporting that it may have been what's being described as an air pellet. Now, I'm going to admit to you, I have no idea what an air pellet is. Would an air pellet be the type of thing fired by an airsoft gun rather than what we might call normal ammunition, a BB pistol?
A little bit. This is a statement from the spokesperson for the Secret Service saying an incident occurred the evening of July 13th at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania. The Secret Service has implemented protective measures and the former president is safe. The former president is safe. This is now an active Secret Service investigation, and further information will be released when it's available. So we have now the word from a Trump campaign spokesperson and from the Secret Service that Donald Trump is okay. But let me tell you, this is exactly the type.
You know, I don't know if safe and okay and unharmed are the same thing, but it does seem to have been some kind of superficial thing on his ear.
Environment, as we heard in an interview with the head of the Secret Service just a short while ago on This Week, the threat environment is as bad as it has been. Obviously, we hear it in the divisive rhetoric in this country, the deep divisions, but the threats, the actual threats.
Now, assuming that the failed former president is okay, which I hope that he is, because this is not how we solve problems. Okay? We are now going to hear, I hope people are braced for this, okay? I hope you are about to hear what I believe will be the most toxic I have ever heard or seen discourse, if you can even call it that, when it comes to firearms and political violence. Assuming that Donald Trump is okay, which I hope he is, we are about to, either way, you are about to see conspiracies galore. You are going to hear from those who say that this was orchestrated by Biden because they know Biden can't win. You are going to hear that this was orchestrated by Trump as a way to curry favor and to be seen as I survived. They want to take me out, which, by the way, will probably work to help him. You are going to hear that this is all thanks to Democrats who want gun-free zones and blah, blah, blah. And you are going to hear that this proves we need more guns in more places. You are about to hear it's going to make your head spin. Now, the first and foremost thing is anyone hurt? Is anyone hurt? And we hope the answer is no. But what a disgusting event. And you know what? This is disgusting no matter what the details are, because some kind of projectile seems to have hit Donald Trump, and airsoft, pellet, Democrat, Republican, whatever. This is 2024, and look at what we're contending with here. Look at what we're contending with here.
The former president and the former president's family, but they have to coordinate with a whole range of law enforcement, and it's a very, tricky. It's a very difficult environment. But those Secret Service agents, I've gotten to know them over my years in covering the White House, gotten to know them so well. They take very seriously their duty, and as you know, it's not a cliche. It is the ethic that drives their work, that they are.
Super chats pouring in. I apologize. I'm just seeing them. Chris says, we all know how Trump will spin this and fundraise off of it. Is he the one taking away the metal detectors like on January 6th? Will we ever get back to normal? Bring Obama or Bush back? Political violence is only going to increase in the United States. Okay, and no other comment there. What an incredible and insane moment. Let's listen to the latest.
For the National Security Council, of course, they are worried about this as a national security incident. We know that the president now has been briefed. He was leaving church, but is now back at his residence there in Delaware. We can say that, of course, he is tracking this with his senior advisors that are traveling with him. They are trying to learn what happened, too. They are, of course, in touch with their Secret Service agents, the Secret Service, and like John Carl was just saying, we now officially know that the president has been briefed and is tracking this closely. It was, we haven't been able to get a formal statement beyond that at this point, but I expect we will pretty soon, not only from the White House, but likely from the Biden campaign.
Mary Alice, thanks. And just a reminder to our viewers here, if you are just joining us and you're seeing this video play out, all of this happening at a rally for former President Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania. This is the moment the chaos played out. Witnesses described.
Let's hear over from CNN here momentarily.
They reacted perfectly. I trained with them. This is exactly what I trained with them on, these types of events, and they reacted near flawlessly.
And they got him into that vehicle, and they're taking him away right now. The Secret Service saying that he is safe right now, and let's hope that his condition is good as well. We're watching this. This is historic. This is dramatic developments unfolding right now.
Let's hope that Donald Trump's fellow Republicans will now rush back to Washington, D.C. and pass some gun safety legislation. Let's hope for that.
Protection. Won't they have to go through magnetometers first so that they can determine if there are any weapons being brought in?
Yeah, Wolf, you would expect that that would be required of anyone who would attend a rally of this size. Certainly anyone that would be in that kind of the inner ring, the closest seats, either in front of or behind the president. Now, I can't say what the actual rules were in place for this rally. We'll find that out later. But the magnetometers are the only way to ensure that this large group of people who you do not know, people who have not been subjected to any sort of background screening or anything like that, this magnetometers are the only way.
I see a lot of people asking, has anyone been detained? We do not know. We do not know the answer to that at this time. If you're just joining us, apparent shots fired at a Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Trump apparently hit, we don't know if grazed directly, indirectly, with what some described as an air pellet. Trump visibly bleeding, taken away in an SUV, described as safe, but we do not yet know the extent of his injuries. Wikipedia has been updated already. Okay. USA is going to get insane now. You know, it's going to be a little while until we figure out exactly what happened here. But this is going to explode. This is going to explode in ways that I don't think we even know. I would be very cautious of the pundits that are already all over Twitter, now known as X, publishing tweets, now known as excretions, that will tell you this is what it means about America that this happened. I would be very careful about accepting any of that sort of nonsense right now. Any act like this is completely and totally unacceptable, obviously. Thanks to Jason Sickmeyer. Jason, I do see that you grabbed a membership, and I appreciate that. This is a completely, obviously unplanned thing. As you can see from my hair, I was not expecting to be doing any streaming, but we found out about this, and this is the sort of thing where, I mean, what sort of bigger story than a president or former president or presidential candidate being shot? The dynamics of what this will do to the race and to the country. Now, I see people everywhere saying it's all fake. Pussy liberals fake. Which aspect of it is fake is the part that I don't totally understand. The conspiracy theory that seems most popular right now, from what I'm reading, is that it was only an air pellet and they let the person in on purpose in order for Trump to be able to put his fist up and create this show of strength. I see false flag everywhere. I mean, listen, I don't know how anyone could know that at this point, given that this happened minutes ago. So those seem like irresponsible speculations. Now here, by the way, the Orange Pill says via Super Chat, this will move the Biden decline conversation off the news. Also, Trump had to make sure his shoe was on and fist in air before he got off stage. Yeah, I mean, listen, the argument that this is exclusively good for Trump, if you want to talk about it in those terms, you could make the argument it's good for Biden because all of a sudden nobody's talking about Biden mixing up a couple names, right? So I think it's not obvious to me. It's not obvious to me that who this is, quote, good for. Someone is sending me scripture that I don't care about. I don't know what to tell you about that. If you're focused on scripture right now, we probably have a sort of different perspective on the entire thing. All right, let's listen to the latest here.
16 and 20, right, during the campaign in Pennsylvania, there are magnometers all over the place, right? So the notion that somehow somebody was able to get a firearm in there is beyond me, because there is as much security there as there is going into any event where the president or former president is. And so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that. But again, everyone's praying for those others that may be injured, not just former President Trump.
Yeah, this is really scary stuff indeed as we're watching all of this unfold, and we'll see what happens. The former president is fine, according to a spokesperson. He's being checked at a local nearby medical facility right now to make sure everything is good. But you could see he raised his right hand to his face as we heard what sounded like gunshots, but we don't know that for sure. Sounded like gunshots in the area. And then we saw some blood near his ear on the side of his face where he had raised his hand. So it's pretty scary stuff indeed. Jonathan Wackrow, anything else you want to add to what we're learning?
Yeah. Well, right now, I mean, this is, as you said, this is a crime scene. And the next phases of this crime scene management is that the Secret Service, which was the primary law enforcement entity in the coordination of the site security plan, they will maintain the site security and maintain items of evidentiary value, again, because this is a crime scene, until the FBI comes in to take over the investigation. So the Secret Service right now is acting as the interim federal presence until the criminal investigation process begins by the FBI. So the Secret Service, takes on multiple roles in these dynamic situations. As I said before, their primary role, the working shift around the former president.
So I see so many people jumping to conclusions in the chat. Okay. I would be very hesitant to, no matter what my job was. Okay. You all know this is my job. Even as a random YouTube viewer or Twitch viewer, before we know anything, I would feel a little weird about going around saying these are false flags. Okay. We don't even know how many people were wounded yet. We don't know anything about this. And I see people assuming a whole bunch of different things here. There is going to be time to figure out what happened here, but it is not my instinct that the best thing here is to say this was obviously a false flag by Trump. By the way, listen, whatever this ends up being, I'm going to report it to you. We don't even know what kind of ammunition it was. We don't know how it got in, given the fact that everybody is screened. We don't know anything. We don't know anything right now. I struggle to think that Trump has the courage or trust in anyone to say, listen, we're going to shoot you, but it's just going to graze. Don't worry about it. I struggle a lot to think that that's something that Donald Trump would say. That sounds really good to me. That sounds really good to me. Very, very difficult to imagine. Now, other people will say, well, they didn't tell Trump. They said someday something we're going to say. We are making such speculations here that seem absolutely, absolutely outrageous. We have some early reporting that the venue where this has taken place is completely evacuated now, and that people who live nearby are describing it as a security nightmare. I don't really know what that means. It's very difficult to know what any of these early statements mean. We do need to wait and see. We have received a statement from Donald Trump that he is fine. He says that he is fine. Beyond that, it's a lot of speculation at this point in time. A lot of speculation. And I would resist making any declarative statements. Zach says, historically, assassination attempts help in the polls, but that's not relevant. This is not how we fight anti-democratic movements. Yeah, listen, if there is anyone in the chat who says this is good because Trump's a danger, blah, 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 even hypothetically entertaining the idea of saying there is some greater good here because of the threat Trump was, I don't want to be a part of a political movement that stoops to that. So even vaguely suggesting that that's a good thing, this is not good on any level. It's not good because if it is as we believe it to be right now, it will help Donald Trump would be my prediction. That's an if. It's not good because once you open the door to this sort of thing, copycats and others who say, well, listen, now that that door's been opened, here's what I feel emboldened and justified in doing. There is no way in which we can say that this is a good thing. Let's listen to Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Yeah, when they get him out of there. A couple things. There's a lot that's unknown. And so from a medical standpoint, that sort of broadens probably the workup. You got to, we see what we see, but was there something else that happened as well that we really didn't see and that he himself may not even be aware of? If we don't know, again, these are gunshots, but if there were, it sounds like there were several. Where else could there be any other injuries? Could there be an injury when he actually went to the ground as well? Well, separate from whatever caused the problem in the first place. But the point being, Wolf, that from a trauma standpoint, that sort of just entails a very full workup. Let's make sure nothing is missed here. We all see what we see. But what about what we don't see or what we don't recognize or what the former president himself may not recognize in the moment in terms of possible injuries? It's not to say that there are any, but one of the things that has to happen is a very complete workup. I'll give you an example. Even let's say there was a grazing of the bullet. Was that just soft tissue? Was there a skull fracture? Anything like that? You got to look for these things to make sure you don't miss it. And again,
if you are just joining us, the former president, Donald Trump, has been apparently shot. There are early reports that Trump may not have been the only person hit, but that is also just an early report. I'm trying to get independent confirmation of that at this point in time. And it is difficult to do, as you can imagine, in this very, very fast-moving situation. I have to tell you, I'm not loving a lot of what I'm seeing in the chat. It has been reported that a man got shot in the head. Perhaps Trump's reaction and blood was due to him being hit with skull fragments. This is all speculative. We can say that is good just because it doesn't align with your thinking. That's not make us wrong. Sean, listen, if you're here to say that it's good that Trump was shot in the head, if that's what happened, it's just not for me, dog. Okay. How do I know this wasn't staged? How do you know it was? I mean, it's not an expert. It sounded like small caliber CO2 powered weapon, maybe 3D printed. That's extraordinary speculation. Extraordinary speculation. Do we have, let me ask this, do we have anything trustworthy indicating that others were injured? Let's start there and see if we can figure this out. By the way, I see that people are subscribing. Thanks to Phased Plasma for gifting 10 subscriptions and some other people for signing up. It's we're talking about Trump's about to start fundraising off of this. I'm not going to fundraise off this. I will mention we are an audience-supported program, and the way you can support this stream and everything we do, RNC coverage next week and everything, would be to sign up at joinpacman.com, and I will issue sober and somber thank yous to anybody who does sign up. But we are here because this is a horrifying event. Jason says anyone celebrating needs to reevaluate. The hardcore right is looking for a reason. This is a slippery slope. Very much so. Very much so. Assassination is legal now, according to Trump. Oh, boy. What a mess. This is not good. We all know very well how level-headed and reasonable the reactions from Maddets are. MAGAs, I think you mean. Yeah, we don't, this is nuts. This is genuinely nuts. We have no idea what the reaction will be from MAGA, but I'm sort of terrified at what the reaction may be. A statement here. President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for their quick reaction during the heinous act. He's fine and being checked out at a local medical facility. We are waiting for other definitive news here about others. We do not necessarily have it. We honestly, at this point, it's not even confirmed that what Trump was hit by was necessarily whatever projectile was fired. I don't even think we can say that yet. This is a good question. Why would this make you want to vote for him? Here's my prediction about why the dynamics would be like that. And I want to remind everybody here. I want to remind everybody that I completely denounce any form of violence of this kind. It has zero place anywhere. And now here's why this helps Trump, okay? All of a sudden now, everyone who's sane denounces this, and the discussion leaves the craven and vile nature of what Trump is proposing, right? That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about here. And Trump's now all of a sudden is marginally more sympathetic. And some of those anti-Trump Republicans who were maybe just going to sit at home because they don't really like Trump, but they don't want to vote for Biden, now they go, hey, you know what? They're going after him. No one deserves that. I'm a Republican anyway. I'm going to reward him with my vote. There is no way in which this hurts Trump. Okay? It's abundantly clear. Abundantly clear. And look at Twitter. I'm looking at Twitter right now. Trump-hating people are saying, we can't have anyone assassinated. We can't have violence. We can't have guns. We can't have any of these things. There is early reporting that, man, I don't even know. Let's just wait. Let's just wait on this because there's so much of this is just not confirmed at this point in time. We're starting to hear statements about the alleged shooter. Okay, let's just put it that way. If you are just joining us, former President Donald Trump has apparently been shot, was rushed off stage with blood apparently coming from his ear. He is apparently fine. Let's listen.
In Pennsylvania. So statements, reaction coming in very, very quickly. And I'll read one more time the Secret Service official statement that just came in from the Chief of Communications of the U.S. Secret Service. An incident occurred the evening of July 13th at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania. The Secret Service has implemented protective measures, and the former president is safe. This is now an active Secret Service investigation, and further information will be released when available. That statement from the Chief of Communications for the U.S. Secret Service. I want to bring in our Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst, John Miller, who's with us right now, watching all of this unfold. What's your analysis, John?
Well, Wolf, what you see, and we've seen it several times on our air, is you hear that pop happen, you see the president reach for his ear, you see him put himself down, service on top of him. But as you listen to that audio very carefully, what you'll hear is what appears to be Secret Service agents after a second volley of sounds that go pop, 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 say, shoot down, shooter is down. We are working to confirm that with the Secret Service, but that's what the audio at the scene tells us. And we do hear that there is a person in custody. After that, what you see is everything happened as Jonathan Wackrow described it. First, the counter-assault team, when you can hear them saying, Hawkeye is here, spreads out and adds that protective field with the long guns. You see them decide that that is the moment, now that they've got that coverage, to move the former president towards the vehicles. There is an ambulance that is there, but instead they put him in the armored vehicle, which is a decision because he's conscious, he's alert, breathing, moving, and they'd rather have the protection of that armored vehicle. And then you see them move him out towards medical care. What you then see is the clearing of that area. And Wolf, as Jonathan also described, that's a crime scene now. Wherever they encountered the shooter, if in fact that's what happened, that is a key part of it. Whatever shell casings or other evidence or a weapon may recover, that's a part of it. What you see when you look at the aerial view of this area is a wide open fairground with a racetrack around it and very low slung buildings. There isn't high ground for a sniper. So it suggests that someone was probably not inside the perimeter, possibly shooting from outside that perimeter, possibly with a long gun to make this happen, because people who come into that that inner perimeter, the actual rally, would have been magged and checked for weapons.
We would assume they would have been magged and checked for weapons, and let's hope that they were, but this is clearly very, very disturbing. John, stay with us. I want to play for viewers who may just be tuning in right now the video of what exactly happened. We'll start with the former president speaking, and then all of a sudden we hear some bangs, which we believe were gunshots, and then he raises his right hand to the side of his face, his right side of his face near his ear, and then we see some blood. But let me play that video from the top, John, and then we'll discuss a little bit more. Watch this.
Oh, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened. Oh.
I just heard shooter is down twice.
Are we good to move? We're clear. We're clear. We're clear. Come on. Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we got to move to the bus.
Let me get my shoes, Trump said.
Watch out.
Wait.
John Miller, you can see the Secret Service agents as they
This is just about one of the worst possible things that could happen on about 1,000 different levels. We don't even have time to go through each of the ways in which this is the worst thing that could happen. And I'm sure you can imagine a bunch of the ways in which this is absolutely the worst thing in so many different ways. Do I address this? Am I going to have to rewrite a chapter of my book about this? No, it's not. It's not really that sort of book. It is hard to even know all of the ways in which this is going to have to be analyzed. But what we know right now is we heard shooter is down from the audio. Trump is reportedly fine. I don't know how many other people, if any, were injured, although we may learn more about that soon. I'm seeing if there's anything new as far as that particular detail, because there is, as is often the case here, rumor, and I see a lot of people saying, David, doesn't this help Trump win? It seems almost tertiary to talk about that right now, but I don't know what else there is to talk about. And does anyone in my audience disagree that this absolutely helps Donald Trump? Is there a single person in my audience that thinks this hurts Trump politically, the fact that this happened, given that we now know that he is fine? It doesn't seem like anybody thinks this helps Biden, that's for sure. This is, of course, aside from the disgusting nature of anybody taking actions like this. Wow. No, the my book. So if you're just catching up on this, my book doesn't come out until March, but my publisher basically put it on sale, pre-order everywhere. So what I've said is, if you just email me a screenshot of your pre-order, I'm keeping them all in a folder so that if at any point we decide here's some goodies for the early pre-orders, I'll keep everybody. We'll email everybody and tell you can get that. It's called The Echo Machine. You can search for it. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, audiobook, Kindle, like literally the book is everywhere. I had no idea they launched it last week. We got hundreds of pre-orders without even talking about it. It's crazy. David, will Trump say Biden is behind this, immunity and all? Honestly, I have no idea. I have no idea what Trump is ultimately going to say. For now, he said they appreciate law enforcement and he's fine. That's all that's been said so far. Elon Musk and others already tweeting out the images of Trump with his raised fist. I'm looking here. It looks to me like the injury is sort of to the top of Trump's right ear. If we look at this image here, it seems like it's the top of Trump's right ear. Now, if we are just to go by the image and Trump's reaction, it seems that this is an inch away from Trump being dead. I mean, my complete layperson analysis of this is that we're talking about an inch between Trump being fine and Trump being dead. Now, I see people here saying it was staged, this was calculated. We have zero evidence of that right now. And it seems irresponsible to be talking about that at this point in time. At this point, what we see and what we hear from the Secret Service audio and from everything is that shots were fired at a Trump rally. By an inch or two, Trump is fine rather than dead. And from Secret Service audio, they say shooter is down. Shooter is down is what we heard.
And again, I cannot stress enough the countless hours that these agents put into this exact moment. Again, focusing on an attack on the principal on a stage, making that principal safe, and then moving them to a safe and secondary location. And if there is any type of medical concern, which in this case there is the medical component that these agents are trained for in the near term until other additional medical personnel are able to examine the former president. So again, quick reaction by the Secret Service, quick reaction by law enforcement partners, really prevented what could have been a real tragedy today.
Yeah, and they say the former president is now at a medical facility getting treatment because you can see the blood on the side of his face over there near his ear. We don't know where that blood, why that blood originated, whether it was a gunshot wound or he fell and something else happened. But we're going to be getting a lot more information in the minutes ahead to be sure. Statements are coming in from all over the place. We're getting a lot more detail on what exactly happened. Juliet Kayyem is with us as well. Juliet used to work at the Department of Homeland Security. This is a nightmare scenario that we've been watching, but give us your analysis.
Okay, well, first of all, I mean, the nightmare scenario is because this is not over. I mean, first you're going to have, of course, the investigation. What, in fact, were the noises? Lots of rumors on X and elsewhere about maybe someone is down or there were other victims. How is the former president and also the candidate to be president for the Republicans? And then let's just fast forward it. We are in an increased threat environment, regardless of what happened today, and what is about to happen is an entire party and its political leadership is meeting.
All right, let's refresh this feed to make sure that it is caught up. So I have to tell you guys, some of the speculation here from people in the audience seems quite wild to me.
We are heading into a convention week right now with a potential threat or whatever it was right now. We're still going to wait, and we have to be careful about what we say. Donald Trump and the people around him perceive themselves to be under threat, and that's all that matters. That is not legitimate. That is wrong. You hear the screams from the audience. People are terrified, and that is the kind of atmospheres that we are going to be living with. And I don't have a good answer about how we bring it back right now.
We have breaking news. A staff writer, excuse me, let me make sure I get this right. Oh boy. A staff writer for the Washington Post, Merrill Cornfield, reports that according to Butler County District Attorney Richard Goldinger, Trump was grazed by gunfire but is safe. An audience member has been killed and the shooter is dead. There is an additional person in serious condition. This is significantly worse than initially reported. Breaking news. This is a staff writer for the Washington Post per the district attorney of Butler County. Trump was indeed grazed by gunfire. There are 2 people dead, an audience member and the shooter, and another person in serious condition. The status of the person in serious condition, we do not yet completely know. This will presumably make it to CNN and other media outlets. That is the latest from Merrill Cornfield, staff writer for the Washington Post. Messages are pouring in. Mostly they're conspiratorial. The Secret Service isn't even moving the crowd away. Shouldn't they be securing it? Why is no one running? Who's the shooter? Any news on that? No news on that yet. The picture online shows his ear intact. Don't bullets normally break the skin? Everybody, because, COVID hit, everybody's an immunologist, everybody's a pulmonologist. Now we're forensic pathologists, crime scene investigators. I don't know, guys. I'm sticking to reporting from institutions that we can trust. And I'm going to wait on anything speculative at this point in time. Everyone jumping to conclusions. Need I remind you, you are not detectives and you were not there. Kind of super dumb. Yeah, I agree. Not the time for that. I want to say thanks to Brian Schaffner. Brian just signed up on my website using the coupon code SaveDemocracy24. Your new member number 17 today. I really do appreciate everybody's support. If you're just joining us, an incredible and unbelievable and disgusting apparent event. If you are just joining us, former President Donald Trump was shot, grazed by a bullet in Butler, Pennsylvania. According to the district attorney via the Washington Post, Trump is okay. The shooter has been killed. An audience member has been killed, and another audience member is in serious condition. The rhetoric in chat is scary and dangerous, says Spencer from Earth. Yeah, I'm almost like, I don't even know what to do. Let's go to, I think what I'm going to do, at least momentarily, is maybe we go to, I don't want to shut off the chat. Let's not do anything right now. Let's just leave it, I guess. I'm not loving a lot of what is going on here. I don't know how else to describe it. Yeah. Dear God. Let's hope and pray MAGA doesn't freak out. Okay, that's fair. This is such a crazy moment in history that I'm going to try not to sort of let's realize that people are reacting however they can react. These are unique moments in history, and we shouldn't really be too harsh on anybody who's just kind of trying to the extent that people are just trying to figure out what's genuinely going on. Let's be sort of charitable as far as that goes. Will I still be streaming the RNC? Is there going to be an RNC? I mean, I assume there's going to be an RNC. Yeah. And I will be streaming it. If you're just joining us and you don't know who I am because you just heard President Trump got shot, I'm David Pakman. I have a channel on YouTube. I'm doing my best to talk about only what we know and to avoid the hyperbole and the speculation. That's what I'm doing. And if you think I'm doing an okay enough job, feel free to subscribe and come back in the future. Other super chats coming in. Some chatters, Alex Jones is a conspiracy nut job. Same chatters. This is obviously a false flag orchestrated by Trump. Yeah, I'm not getting into that right now. I'm glad Trump is okay. Political violence is disgusting. Yes, it is. What impact do I see this having on the race? This helps Trump. I don't see any way that this does anything other than help Trump. Thanks to Face Plasma Rifle for gifting 10 subscriptions over on Twitch. And I see a couple other people who signed up there as well. Thanks to Isaac Khan, who is the newest member on my website, joinpacman.com. We're going to do our best to stick to the facts here. The best factual reporting I've found on the level of injury here is Trump grazed by a bullet, shooter shot dead, audience member shot dead, audience member in serious condition. Cenk Uygur saying shooting Trump is morally disastrous and politically disastrous, dumb and despicable, and that he's glad he's okay. Well, Cenk and I haven't had a lot of agreements lately, but it's hard to disagree with that. And that goes to why this is a political disaster for those who care about the country in absolutely every way that you can imagine. Thanks to Becca, Sophie Brunette Boyvin, Chloe Hartso, and Brandon Hake for signing up on my website. We are all here together trying to figure out what the hell happened. It is awful in every way. Let's go over to ABC's coverage and see if they are contributing anything new.
3 or 4 bleachers behind me, it looked like there was a man who was severely injured. There was a lot of blood, and his people around him were trying to administer first aid, and then the police, some police officers came in and carried him out, and presumably.
Let's go to NBC News, which is apparently live somewhere relevant here.
President Aaron, first of all, are you okay? How are you feeling?
I'm okay. I was in the first row. I was directly in front of Trump, my seat. I was looking him in the eye. We heard the pops, maybe 3 minutes into the rally, 3 to 4 minutes. I heard 4 pops, pop, pop, pop. The 4 Secret Service immediately jumped on the stage, and we saw him push President Trump to the ground. Then the gentlemen that have the guns came up to start clear right, clear left. They said, get him up. So they lifted him up, and Trump said, I got to get my shoes on first.
Did his shoes come off?
His shoes must have, we couldn't see it underneath that, but his shoes must have come off when they dropped him down to the ground. First thing he said, we could all hear it, I have to get my shoes on first. And when he stood up, I'm looking at him forward, I see the red teardrop right here of blood, fresh red blood, just a little tear. Then when they got him up and they turned him, I could see the blood from the top of the ear to the bottom. Wasn't gushing, but it was covered. And then he put the fist bump up, stay strong, and they walked him off.
Aaron, what was going through your mind? What did you think when you first heard those sounds?
I thought to see what you just said. I thought it was fireworks. 4th of July, it's been pop, pop, pop. That's what it sounded like. Now, the gentleman behind me, I was one seat, he was to the right of me. He could see the sharpshooter behind Trump. He said the sharpshooter shot to the left. He killed the gentleman in the water tower here. Now, when I called my husband at home, who's watching TV, he said, I thought Trump hurt his ear when he went to the ground. But he said, no, on TV they showed before Trump hit the ground, the ear was bleeding. So that sharpshooter went across, Trump turned his head, his ear must have been nipped, and it killed somebody in the stands over to the left.
Could you see anyone injured besides the blood on the former president?
All I saw was the gentleman from Beaver County who spoke earlier in the day. He was running for the State House Representative, Elmore, I know his name. He had a white shirt on, and I saw him come from that left stands where the people were mostly shot. I think there was several. They said 3 medevacs left here. Blood was down the right side of his. He wasn't shot, but you could see that he was next to somebody who must have been bleeding profusely, because he either helped them and ran, rubbed against them, or tried to get them help or something. It was covered. So I knew that he was near somebody. That was my first indication that somebody was actually shot, when I saw his blood on his shirt.
Aaron, when did you realize that, hey, this might not be fireworks, this might be something else?
When they got Trump down on the ground. And then we were just so concerned that he wasn't hit, because we couldn't. It happened so fast. It's really hard to process it. I guess if you have it on your camera to see the exact minute, you can tell. But when he got up, he did not look bad at all. He didn't. He looked very strong. So then I saw that little bit, when I saw that blood, I thought, oh, he must have just hurt himself, hopefully. Right. But it does appear that he was probably nicked by that bullet. Right. That Aaron turned his head just in the nick of time, but just
And Aaron, you were so near to all of this yourself. You were right there. How did you personally feel about your own safety? Were you scared? What was that experience?
I was totally not scared for my own. None of us in that front row went down to the ground. Not a one. We wanted to only help the president. That's all we wanted to do. Either we could protect him, we could stand around him. I didn't see one person in the row hit the ground. Not one. I was shocking. No one was concerned about us. We were only concerned about him.
Now, you're somewhere safe. You're out of there. As you're starting to process this, I know we'll all be processing this over the coming days and weeks. How are you feeling now in this moment?
Well, what I've heard coming out here is now they feel that there was 2 shooters on both sides. So they got the one on the tower on this side, but the one on the right side they never got. So that's why they wanted us to leave immediately, because they thought there's still a shooter out there somewhere. So there could be in these woods around Butler.
So, Aaron, you know, I've covered many Trump rallies. I don't know how many you've been to.
My 6th. This is yours. I was here. I was the 4th car in the parking lot this morning at 20 to 7. So I've worked all day.
We have no idea whether that's law enforcement. That's the second we just have no idea. Okay, this happened 20 minutes ago.
Atmosphere coming into a Trump rally, the supporters very jovial, very celebratory. Typically, people are selling merchandise, food. What were you coming in with today, and what are you leaving with tonight?
Well, I was here 4 years ago when he was in Butler. You know, it was like 58,000 people. I tell people it was the most magical night of my life. When he came on that helicopter and circled 2 times, he had 4 rallies that night. It was just an unbelievable night. And I was anticipating to be another unbelievable night, but not this way. And it's just very sad. I mean, all these people that came to see him and to have him hurt.
If you see something that's
I can't even describe it, you know. I just feel sad. I feel sad for our country. I feel sad for everybody, you know. I mean, you don't like the guy, don't vote for him. Don't kill him. We love the guy. We're going to vote for him, you know. I mean, what is up with this violence? I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, I just wish that people.
Now listen, let's
guys no longer with us anymore in that tower. And I hope they get the other one too. And I hope they don't nick him. I hope they get him and he's down.
Aaron, thank you so much. I'm so glad. No, I'm so glad you're safe. I know it's a lot.
We don't have any idea yet the politics behind what took place. We just don't know. Okay. One of the things we do know is that the vast majority of politically oriented violence in the United States is perpetrated by the right. Now, we don't know if this is the shooter. We don't know anything about their politics yet. Probably his politics. I would assume it's a man. This is part of why this helps Trump. Because no matter what the statistics are about political violence, this completely reorients the discussion. Now, it may have been a right-winger that's not happy enough with Trump because of this or that or the other thing, or it might have been a left-winger. We just don't know. When we know, I will tell you. When we know, I will tell you. This helps Trump. There's just no way around it. People say don't assume the shooter's gender, please. Guys, I'm assuming the shooter's gender. I'm assuming the shooter's gender because almost all shooters are male. Okay?
Same in terms of what we...
Let's move back over to CNN to see, and I see so many things are coming in. Thanks to LJ Brunso, Lawrence Gore, Michelle Ross, and Chris Bannon for signing up at my website, joinpacman.com. The coupon code SaveDemocracy24 seems as relevant as ever. Given what is taking place here.
Get access to the grounds. Is it inside? Was it outside? Was this person essentially a sniper who was firing at the former president? All of their background, all of that stuff is being done now as we speak. Now, the FBI is also there. In the case of the Ronald Reagan, the former President Ronald Reagan, when he was shot by John Hinckley Jr., that became an FBI, a Secret Service, and an FBI investigation that obviously went to all of the parts of that case. And so that is likely what is going to happen here, Wolf. But right now, again, we're still just getting the basic information from the scene. And as you pointed out, the shooter is no longer believed to be a threat to the safety of that scene. And so now the investigation moves to another phase. So that's what we know at this point, that the shooter was neutralized And that's a term, again, that we hear from law enforcement when they mean that the shooter is dead.
And I think it's significant, Evan, and correct me if I'm wrong.
We have video of an interview with an emergency room doctor who was in the crowd and says he tried to save someone's life.
That's exactly where I heard him come from.
What did you see, sir?
I heard the shots. I thought it was firecrackers to begin with. Somebody over there was screaming, he's been shot, he's been shot. So I made my way over. I said, I'm an emergency department physician. Let me help you. The guy had spun around, was jammed between the benches. He had a headshot here. There's lots of blood, and he had brain matter there. And so I got him. There's a helicopter coming in to get him. I got people there really helpful. I got
Was there
him
only
up
one
on a
person
bench.
shot that you saw?
Then I did CPR, did chest compressions as well as I breathed for him.
One person.
I was the only one that did it.
We need to evacuate everybody. Honor that.
Oh my goodness. This is unimaginably bad. Unimaginably bad. Wow. Wow.
Some banging noises we heard. These were gunshots. When I was watching this live and I heard that noise, to me it sounded like a gunshot right away. But now that multiple law enforcement sources are calling this individual who fired these shots the shooter, I think that's significant in what we know, right?
That's right, Wolf. Look, I mean, I think the word, there is a lot of caution by the Secret Service in releasing some of this information. We're probably going to hear from them very, very soon with a lot more information about exactly what happened with this incident. But yes, I mean, the idea is that there is some kind of shot that was fired at the former president or in that direction, and that he was injured by something. Now, again, it could be a gunshot. There's a lot of speculation.
There is video out there, which I am not going to put up because I think it'll just get my stream shut down. There is video out there claimed to be legitimate of a shooter apparently down on what appears to be a rooftop. On what appears to be a rooftop on the outskirts of the rally. It seems as though, from what I am seeing, it was a sort of sniper type situation with a long distance rifle of some kind. I'm not going to put the video up because I think it would go beyond what we're kind of allowed to do here. But this is all slowly starting to trickle in. Slowly starting to trickle in.
Then it starts with the former president, Donald Trump, speaking to this crowd in Butler, Pennsylvania. And then all of a sudden we hear what we now can confirm gunshots. And then he raises his right hand to his face. Then you see some blood coming out and he goes down. But let's watch the video an additional time right now, especially for viewers who might just be tuning in.
Let's watch this and then I have more information for you.
Old, that chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we got to move to the bus. Let me get my shoes. Okay, my shoes down.
Watch out.
Wait.
So we're just trying to figure out.
I want to also tell you there's video. I'm not going to play it again because I think this stuff will get the streams shut down. There is video of the apparent shooter, no longer alive, being dragged out of the rally by police, reported by a local Fox affiliate. So a lot of these things are starting to very, very quickly go public.
By multiple law enforcement sources that the shooter, and that's the word they're using, the shooter involved in this incident at the Trump rally in Pennsylvania is no longer an immediate threat. But go ahead and give us the latest information you're getting.
Yeah, Wolf, listen, what we heard Evan talk about was, that the statement was that the threat has been neutralized, or the shooter has been neutralized. That actually now confirms what we heard the agents on the stage in that audio just a moment ago actually say. Now, I want to just,
they said, just interrupt you for a second. We heard those Secret Service agents say, shooter is down, shooter is down. Is that what you heard?
So that's actually really important, Wolf. And the reason being is because as the agents came in and pushed the former president down, and they basically create, they tackle him down, and they put themselves in between the former president and the threat. They're not going to move that former president or any protectee if there's active rounds coming in. So when we heard that word, the shooter is down, was really important. That was a key.
Yeah, guys, listen, I don't like Trump, okay? I don't like the guy. I see amateur crime scene reconstruction experts in the chat saying, or security experts saying, Secret Service immediately swarms and takes the person away, just like when Reagan was shot. It also seems completely plausible that you shield the person, then you are told the shooter is down. They go, why would they expose him like this? For a second, you could see his head in this video. Well, they're essentially surrounding him the entire time. They've already been told that the shooter is down. And so why does that mean that this is, I mean, there are people here with extraordinarily motivated reasoning about every element of this that they claim proves this, that, the other thing. Others saying Trump wasn't actually shot. Why was no one else hit? Well, we now know someone else was hit. We just heard from, it starts to build. It starts to build. We just saw an interview with an ER doctor who was there, covered in blood, who said someone got hit. It stands to reason that it's one of the rounds that grazed Trump and then continued on, hit somebody else. It sort of makes perfect sense. And you start getting into these things where people just go, I kind of don't like this, the way this sounds, so I'm going to come up with a story. And every element of it is wrong, but it doesn't matter. So listen, these are chaotic situations. And right now, I have no reason to believe that it is anything other than an absolutely insane tragedy that is a political disaster, that is a moral disaster, it's an ethical disaster. And by the way, this seems like a coordinated assassination attempt. This seems like something that was planned. And if the video I'm seeing reflects what I believe it reflects, we're talking about an inch over and Trump's dead right now. An inch over and Trump's dead right now is what it seems to be. I want to say thanks to Neera Iravani, Alex Smith, Krista Hines, Teresa Combs, and Alvin Stevens, who signed up at joinpacman.com. This is an audience-supported program and stream. Really appreciate people signing up on my website. Also, really appreciate everybody. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel. We're going to be live with this, the RNC, the DNC, forthcoming debates, if there are any, all of it, doing the best job I can to bring you only what we know, and political analysis. I believe the political analysis is clear. This helps Donald Trump. I don't think there's any way that this is bad for Trump politically. Now that by an inch his life has been spared, right? Now that by an inch his life has been spared, I think politically this is a good thing for Donald Trump. I don't see any way around it. Thanks also to Teresa Combs for gifting a subscription. I appreciate it. If you are just joining us, the former president of the United States, while holding a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, just moments after the rally started, was shot. The bullet appeared to graze the top of his right ear, went on to seemingly hit someone else in the crowd. That individual is now deceased. The shooter is now deceased. And an additional individual, according to the Butler County DA, is in serious condition. Serious condition. That's what I believe that we know as of this moment.
Really important and great work by all law enforcement, including the Secret Service.
Yeah, and once again, the suspected gunman in this particular case is dead, and at least one rally attendee is dead as well. More information is coming in relatively quickly right now. You see, and Jonathan Wackrow, I just want to get your thought. You know, when he clearly is hit on the side of his face, near his neck, near his ear, Trump falls down. I don't think the Secret Service was pushing him down at that point, although they did go down and then eventually lift him up and take him to a vehicle. But it looked like he just went down right away as he raised his right hand towards the side of his face.
Listen, there could be, you know, I don't know what type of instructions the detail leader had given to former president, you know, when protection had started. You know, typically when there is a perceived threat, we tell the protectees to lower down. The safest place for them to be when there's,
Another example of the political insanity of this, an NPR correspondent who was at the rally said that when this happened, many in the crowd turned and pointed to the press and said, "This is your fault. You did this." That is the prototype and microcosm of the endless ways in which this is going to have massive, massive ramifications. There's no way around
came
it.
Immediately on top of them. The detail leader would have been doing a rapid assessment to see if there were any secondary wounds, any other type of injury prior to moving the former president. We didn't get to see that because they were down behind that front shield, the bunting in the front of the stage. But that's what's going on with the Secret Service, all the while gaining intelligence and gaining information around what is the situation and ensuring scene safety before the president is moved.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, to make sure they protect the former president of the United States and get...
All right, let's look at some super chats because they are coming in fast and furious. Honestly, David, I don't know how to process this. Any tips? Yes, I would stick to thinking through the parts we know. The parts we know, which right now are shooter and one attendee dead. Report of another victim in serious condition. Trump grazed his ear, but okay. An utter nightmare. Did you see the interview with the MAGA woman? Instantly, they are reasonable and sympathetic. We did see that interview. For all the times we've judged the right for their beliefs in conspiracy, it's clear in this chat that a lot of people are showing they are no better. What's worse than a hypocrite? A hypocritical hypocrite. I feel like he covered his ear after the second, so he was standing for the first, third, and maybe fourth. He should thank God the sniper might not be a pro. A plot straight out of the movie Bob Roberts. Putin did this. Okay. Jeez. That's some stuff. Another interview here.
Features like either behind, above me, or just to the side of him. But it seemed like she was kind of at my flank, and then she flinched, and it looked like she had taken a gunshot wound to the forearm and hand.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard multiple gunshots, 8 to 11 shots. We've been hearing it replayed on the video here. Do you remember, can you tell, I know it was a chaotic scene, but at what point, was it immediately when you heard the gunshots that he was shot, or was it later on into the firing?
The first 7, he was hit and she was hit within the first 7 shots. I counted 7 shots.
What was going through your mind? You were right there. I know it happened so quickly, but what can you tell us about those moments?
Yeah. First, I was in shock because I know what gunshots sound like, so I knew they were gunshots. I couldn't tell from where they were coming from. And when I noticed someone got hit, then I noticed, well, it seemed like they were coming from behind me, and it just was pandemonium. And then I heard some more shots, and I couldn't quite tell where they were coming from. But I counted the first 7; they were very loud and very close. And it killed one man and wounded another woman.
And Joseph, you told me that you're a doctor, you're an OBGYN. How did that background play into how quickly you were sort of able to assess the situation and know what happened to these individuals and know what was going on?
Well, I told the police, I tried to render assistance. I told the police I could render assistance. They had another physician on the EMT team, so they kind of took over. So they didn't really need me, so I kind of helped carry them down initially out of the bleachers. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't, the man that got hit, there was no assistance that needed to be given. And unfortunately, his family witnessed the whole thing. It seemed like he had several family members in the bleacher with him. And they were quite upset. They didn't know, they were in shock. They didn't quite know what was going on. But the man was definitely killed instantaneously.
Could you tell sort of how many family members or people who knew him were with him, and what was their reaction?
I thought there was 5 people. 2 of them were relatively hysterical. So, but they were, when we took the man out of the bleachers, he went to the tent. There was an aid tent or some type of tent behind the bleachers where they took the body, and they immediately evacuated the family with them. And the 2 out of the 5, it seemed like, in shock, hysterical. Like they were still trying to process what was going on.
Joseph, from where I was standing, we heard the shots. We saw the president go down.
Yeah, I saw President Trump get hit.
What can you tell us? What details?
There are conflicting reports about this.
Off to the side, and it seemed like he got nicked in the ear.
Was that?
There are reports that Trump was hit with broken glass and not a bullet. There's now reports starting to say that. We don't yet know. But it would explain the light impact of his injuries.
Killed almost instantly. The woman in the bleachers, she got injured, like she got hit in the forearm in the hand. And then in those rounds that were fired, again, I was videoing the event, so that's when I saw Trump get hit. And it seemed to me like he was looking to the side and the round grazed his ear. So.
Could you tell the gentleman that was hit in the head what angle he was in relation to the former president, like which direction the bullets were coming from and to?
So it looked like he was facing the president at the very far left portion of the bleachers. So he's directly facing it. Again, it seemed to me like the shots were coming from the rear, like behind us. And for me, it seemed like the man was in the way. Like, I guess.
In the way of the former president?
No, it seemed like the man was in the way of the shots between whoever was shooting the gun and the president. The man was hit. It seemed like he was in the crossfire.
Let me get my shoes.
And I know, and I know you're in shock and still processing all of this. It's sort of hard to evaluate our own emotions in this moment, but you just experienced something horrific.
Yes.
What can you tell us about your state of mind right now?
Yeah, I've had opportunities to go to these rallies before. It was the first one I ever went to. I had, time off to go do it. I was kind of excited to go, but it's, everyone, it's something you don't expect. It comes out of the blue. It's like a bolt out of the blue, and it's shocking. The way politics goes in this country, it just seems like it's really polarized. Everyone's just very angry. I'm honestly shocked this didn't happen earlier. I was commenting to my friend who went to the event with me. I was like, the back behind the bleachers, it's really open. It seems like a really open venue. And it's just, I got this sense that, if someone really wanted to do something, again, I was openly talking to her. I was like, if something bad was going to be happening, this is the perfect venue to have. I just said this like an hour before it happened. I was like, this would be the perfect place to do it. And, surprisingly enough, it happened.
A devastatingly prescient observation from you. Let me ask you one more question, because from where I was, there was confusion. Then Trump stood up and there were some cheers. And then people sort of remained, those that weren't in sort of the immediate zone where you were, people were still sort of cheering, talking, trying to figure out what was going on. How quickly did you know that whether or not there was still a dangerous situation? It seemed like people sort of started.
Okay, let's get away from this one momentarily. This guy's doing a lot of speculation, and I want to get different speculation from people in the crowd. Here is an interview with a guy outside the security perimeter who says he saw the shooter before the guy fired.
Someone who was here, you weren't inside the event, nope, but you were just outside. Tell us what you saw.
So we had a party here all day. You can see behind us at the Brinkles Farming Greenhouse here. We had a party, and we all decided, hey, when we hear Trump up there, we're going to walk up through the field, stand by the trees up there under the shade, and and listen to the rally. Right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea.
It was 3, I guess.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building. Beside
Can you imagine?
50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, you know, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? You know, like they didn't know what was going on.
Oh, my
God.
God.
Like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. You know, he's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at them for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
It's incredibly shocking.
The guy was on the roof right there. You can see the white roof right there.
Did you get a look at him? Could you?
No, other than he was in muted colors, tan type clothing. We saw the rifle flinging around as he was trying to crawl. We saw the rifle, 100%.
Do you know about guns? Do you know what kind of weapon it was?
Oh, I absolutely know about guns, for sure. It was a rifle of some sort. I wouldn't know, I wasn't close enough to read the label on it.
No, sure. But it
was a rifle of some sort. Yeah, absolutely.
So, how do you process what you've just seen?
I don't know what to say, man. All I'll tell you is, if I walked up close to there with anything that Secret Service considered a problem, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you right now. But I don't know why a guy who we're standing there pointing out to police and Secret Service is crawling up the roof.
Were you outside the security perimeter?
Yes, right there by that tree. We were outside the security perimeter. But my question is, there's only a few buildings around here. Why is Secret Service not on every building here?
Well, there's a whole bunch of questions, I think, that are going to come.
There's a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Trump fired on the horse? Yes, she was right in front of me. She kept going back and forth right in front of me. Yes.
Tell us about her.
We now have much more widespread reporting that Trump was not hit by a bullet. A bullet hit his teleprompter and the glass struck him by the ear. Guys, I don't want to make jokes, but the insane irony of the fact that Trump has spent a decade attacking Obama and Biden for using teleprompters. But in reality, Trump uses them himself. And if he didn't have the teleprompter, the glass wouldn't have cut his ear. What? Truth is strange. This is nuts. Truth is stranger than fiction. Trump was cut by teleprompter glass, which he attacks other people for using. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. What do you even say?
Saw that go on, and then I looked down, I saw the man, had died in the bleachers. It was just complete pandemonium. There was a bit of a delay, there was a lot of confusion, but immediately, it seemed like more gunfire erupted. I couldn't figure out where that was coming from, and then, there was a state policeman there. I believe a SWAT team, showed up relatively quickly. They jumped aside. There's a
By the way, there's another. You could argue, could the bullet have hit Trump were it not for the teleprompter? Is it like the people who have a Bible, the World War I soldiers with a Bible in their pocket, and the Bible stops a bullet? Did Trump get saved by a teleprompter? This is insane.
Ever had a chance to make it to a Trump rally, that this was your first time? Would you feel safe coming back to another Trump rally?
Yeah, you know, it's a very random event that happens. You know, I feel safe generally where I go in the country. You know, I think the problem is we have everyone seems very angry, and you know, it makes you kind of, you know, I'll go to a Trump rally again, but I'll think twice. You know, you definitely want to have your head on the swivel. It just seems like there's a lot of angry people out there, and I'm not shocked that this happened. I'm shocked that I was sitting there and it happened next to me. Obviously, you never anticipate that to happen, but it's just horrible. You know, we shouldn't be at a level of political discourse in this country where this is going on. It feels like it's 1960 again. You know, it's horrible.
Can you describe for me, Joseph, what happened after you saw the shots? And I mean, I was there as well. Secret Service was screaming for everyone to get down. They quickly tried to clear the area. I'm just curious what that process was like for you in the aftermath.
Very confusing. Like I said, I think everyone who was in the bleachers knew. It was initially confusing when the gunshots erupted. I think the crowd thought it was fireworks. I think someone thought they were playing a joke. And, you know, the people were close to the people that got injured and killed. You obviously knew it wasn't a joke. And it seemed like there was a push-pull in the crowd. And that is, one half of the crowd on the far end of the rally thought it was some type of weird joke. The other half of the crowd knew it wasn't and was trying to push or impress upon the rest of the crowd that this is serious. And I think everyone got the idea very quickly that it was a dangerous situation, and everyone just started hitting the deck. And, you know, kudos to the Secret Service. You know, again, you know, when you're in these situations, a second feels like it's an hour, but it seemed like authorities were there very quickly. It just seemed to me, like I said, I was sitting there, it seemed like the rounds came from behind, and they got this, they hit the gentleman in the head. You know, he got a gunshot wound to the head, and the other lady was injured, and then I saw President Trump, you know, get hit, and it looked like his right ear, but it seemed initially everyone was like half the crowd was in shock, and the other half thought it was some type of weird joke. And it took a bit for everyone to get a good understanding of what was going on. So.
You mentioned that you had spoken with the person who ended up falling, I believe you said, or he was with his whole family?
No, his family watched it happen. So they were in the bleachers when he got hit and he went down. I think they were trying to figure out what was going on. They were screaming for help. The body they put a towel over the man's head. The body was removed from the bleachers. Then the police came back, you know, right after and tried to move the family, but they were all in shock. They weren't processing what was going on. The man was he was dead the minute he was hit. I mean, it was something that reminded me of the Zapruder film from Kennedy. I mean, it was his head snapped, and that was it. And I caught it out of the corner of my eye, and, you know, and then there was just pandemonium. And again, you know, it's Pennsylvania. You're out in rural Pennsylvania. You don't really anticipate this is going to happen, but it happened.
You mentioned, and I'm sorry, I know this is very emotional for you as well. You mentioned that, you know, this was your first Trump rally. How are you feeling about the election now? What are you hoping to see moving forward? We've already seen a lot of statements of support from across the aisle come in for the former president. I can tell you, too, from our sources that they say that Donald Trump is okay, that he is at a local facility being treated. But I would love just your view on, I know you came here today to support the man that, you know, the former president. I'm curious how you think about this now. I know it's a hard question given the chaos that we're currently in and the adrenaline that we're both feeling right now, but if you can share any of that insight.
It solidifies my support. I understand, you know, people believe that Trump's, well, they know he's bombastic. They don't really like him. He's a very polarizing figure. He has an abrasive personality, but I truly believe he has the best interests of the country at heart. And you know, you make a point. You know, the man's a billionaire. Mm-hmm. He could be sitting in the, like you said, he was sitting at the rally joking about it. He's like, I could be sitting in the Mediterranean on a yacht enjoying my life, but I'm not. I'm trying to help run the country. It puts in perspective there's a real cost for that. I mean, there's some people that really want him dead. And to me,
this is exactly why this helps Trump on the margins.
Not so much from the right. It comes from everywhere. And it just needs to stop. Yeah, JFK, at RFK, you've had Martin Luther King. Now you're going to, you know, attempt the life of Reagan, and now you have an attempted, assassination of Trump. It's just ridiculous. And it just, I don't think it's a gun problem. I don't think it's a violence problem. I think there's a lot of angry people that just have too much interest in politics, and it's a zero-sum game to them. Politics shouldn't be a zero-sum game where someone wins everything and someone loses everything. And I think this is a result of that. People that came today, were very happy. They were here to support Trump. But you can when you talk to people in the crowd, there's a tenseness. They don't want to talk to family members about politics because it just gets too angry. So I don't know what to tell you, but this needs to stop.
Thank you so much, Joseph. I very much appreciate your time, and
All right, everybody. That is going to end my emergency coverage of this. We are going to now wait for more information. Wait for more information before coming to more conclusions. Politically, I do believe this helps Trump. As far as what this means for the future of the country, I don't know. By Monday, we'll have found more to say. On the way out, please do hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. It's free. You'll be notified when I stream again, and we will be streaming quite a bit in this forthcoming week. Really appreciate everybody who signed up during the stream at the website or wherever. I hate that we are here under these circumstances, but always great to see folks, and we will see everybody again very, very soon.